What does this mean to you? Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. Whether you've only seen Dungeons & Dragons and the dice that you use to play it with on a TV show, or if you use them already to build stories with your friends, my senior project is about D&D. D&D is back, and I'm here to help it out. Right now, if you want to get into D&D, you've got two options. You can pay $60 for the core rulebooks, which is a heavy investment for most of their customers, or you can buy this, the starter set. It's an adventure, or a series of adventures that will take several different evenings of playtime. It's amazingly well thought out. It's one of the best products that Wizards of the Coast has ever made. But there's a hitch. What about all the people who don't want to drop $15 on a game that they might not enjoy? My project is taking the pre-made characters that come with the starter set and making a before the starter set adventure. Something that any person can walk up to, read, run for their friends, and see whether or not they want to spend money on D&D. Money is one factor, yes, but there's a second thing. D&D is cooperative storytelling. It's make-believe with your friends. It's something that only happens in your collective imaginations. There's nothing else out there like it. Video games, movies, board games, no. You sit there and you enjoy the experience, and you don't really participate. Not that much. So people really do need a test run to see if this kind of weird new game is something that they and their friends will enjoy. What's beautiful about my project, which is a pre-made adventure, all 12 pages of which are printed right here, that takes people through their very own first adventure, is that it starts out with this doing most of the work. All of the opening narrative is written out for the dungeon master, for the chief narrator of the story. And from there, it takes the group through a series of small skill checks until you get to the end, which is a full combat scenario that starts out with some very weak, very simplistic enemies, and then progresses to a villain who is fully functional, for lack of a better term. He has his own desires and beliefs. He has his own tactics, and he's going to use them to kill the heroes if they can convince or kill him. I've designed the Dyke is Breaking to be as easy to pick up and play as possible. This player aid can be printed multiple times and be in front of all of the players, so that it's not just the DM's job to explain every single rule that they'll need for the game. I've done a lot of streamlining on D&D's basic rules already, but it's still going to be pretty heavy. D&D is not something that can be simplified too much, or just stops being D&D. Another way that I'm making it easier on first-time players is through this, the end of scenario combat map. Most groups have miniatures and already printed maps that they use for D&D play. Our people don't have that. These cutouts serve as miniatures, can be moved around the battlefield so that everyone knows where everyone else is during a fight, and it's just enough that their imaginations can fill in the rest, because that's what D&D is all about. This would be an interesting but fairly useless exercise if I was just going to share this with a few friends of mine. I'm not. I'm sharing this with the world. Wizards of the Coast has created a place where anyone, as long as they follow a few basic rules, can create content for Dungeons and Dragons. It's called the DMsGuild.com. You can list whatever you upload for a certain price. I'm going to be going with a pay-what-you-want scale because, again, this is for first-timers and they need a test run experience. But if people like what I'm doing, they might throw me a few dollars. Wizards will get half of that. I'll get the other half. But more than just that, this is one of the stepping stones to getting me a good internship for building my career and my portfolio. Everything that I've created in The Dyke is Breaking is completely legal. All of the artwork that I use has been released from Wizards of the Coast for purposes like this, and I've grabbed a couple other images from Pixabay and other places that have a Creative Commons license. So the project is technically over, but I'm not finished. There's too much here that could just be a little bit better. That's part of what I learned in this project, is pacing yourself, getting the groundwork down so that you can make everything look pretty and fancy and more usable that way after you have the foundations. I also learned a lot of tips about working from home, how to avoid distractions, and other things like that. On the horizon is getting this out onto dmsguild.com, getting feedback, taking it in, and then releasing a 2.0 version later down the road. I want to commission some artwork, some legit artwork, and then a thumbnail that can be used to bring more people in for that release, as well as get in touch with do some marketing. Basically, I want to get in touch with Kotaku, Gnomestu, and a few other websites that are just all about D&D geekiness. They've got the following, I don't, and they can make this project influence more people. I want more people to play D&D because it's fun, because it teaches you how to build stories, and that's important in this world.